Guys, welcome to MyGuy Reviews review. We're going to talk about the ending of Defenders. Kind of break it down for you guys and kind of give you some explanations of what's happened. So this is the Marvel equivalent of the cinematic universe, but being a television averse shared universe. We've obviously had the amazing first Daredevil season, which was incredible, which had the Kingpin, who's again great, and then we had the equally amazing Jessica Jones season 1, the slightly not as great but still amazing Luke Cage season. Then we had Daredevil, which was more of just a build up to this, a bit like Iron Man was. The first one was standalone, it was great. Then Iron Man 2 was a build up for the Avengers. Iron Fist was pretty much a build up to Defenders as well. So what actually happens in Defenders and where's it all kind of lead off? So the first thing is, at the very end of Defenders, we see the moment where Matt Murdock tells and whispers something to Danny, and before Danny gets on the lift with the remaining Defenders and they make their way out of the building, which then obviously explodes, he goes back down, Matt Murdock, Daredevil, and he fights against Elektra. And then they have a moment just as the building's collapsing where they kiss, and you can see that chemistry still there regardless, even though she is the Black Sea or Black Death or whatever she was, but she's still Elektra anyway. And then the building collapses and we see all and everything kind of collapse around them, and it's kind of left as a mystery. Last 20 minutes they're just kind of showing what all the other characters are up to, and we're not sure what's happened to Matt or Elektra. Now, as the actual show ends, and for those who are kind of keen and watching what's going on, basically at the very end we see Matt and he's lying down on a bed somewhere, and obviously he's been dragged out of the rubble, or he's been taken out of there, and there's only one person who could have done that, and I wish I could say it was Gal, because Gal's one of my favourite characters in the show, but it was Elektra. Elektra drags Matt out and leaves him not at death's doorstep, but actually at a church. So this is the first thing, and the first kind of reveal, maybe a spoiler for season 3 of Daredevil. So we see him at a mysterious hospital, and he's being attended by a nurse, and potentially, I'm guessing, this is where the new season will start. And for those who were kind of watching, the nurse kind of looks over him and tells someone off screen, because we don't really see who that person is. She says, "Get Maggie." So Maggie, or Sister Maggie, so anyone who's been watching kind of Daredevil season 1, season 2, you know, obviously Matt had his dad around throughout the whole season, but unfortunately his mom wasn't around. So obviously, for those who know the comic books and kind of what's going on, Maggie is Maggie Murdock, and she didn't die when Matt was young. She took a vow to the Catholic Church and became a nun. And though Matt was kind of carrying that Catholic guilt around, you know, you see him in the church a lot, he doesn't understand why, and obviously that's the reasoning for that. It's there is a scene, I think, in the first season of Daredevil where his dad says to someone, "Can you look after him now?" This mysterious person. But at that point, we don't know who he's talking to, and then, as we know, Stick kind of raises him and makes him the man he is today. And at times, there's a moment where Matt is confessing his sins to a father at the Lantern, which that identity of the father is kept kind of a secret, a bit of a mystery, and we'll later find out that's kind of Maggie. And in the kind of comic ethos, I think. Sister Maggie first appeared in Daredevil, in Frank Miller's Daredevil, really, in Born Again, and it's a great little comic book. So we see how far they can kind of get that into the TV series. Because the good thing about that, of course, in Born Again, we have Wilson Fisk, aka the Kingpin, taking the ultimate revenge on Matt Murdock. That would be amazing. So he's still in prison. He might hire a much better bullseye, maybe going to the church and to kill a lot of the nuns and using his cane and kind of planting that all. So we could be in for a really good season 3. Sounds really exciting. So the next ending obviously is Luke Cage Jessica Jones. Now, there's that bar scene right at the very end, and you can see Luke and Jessica coming together, and it's something about it's amazing. But Luke wants to kind of rekindle things. Jessica kind of does, but they both gotta fix their homes first, don't they? Because the very end of Luke Cage, we still have Shades, who's out there somewhere. I think it's Maria Dillard. She's still out there doing stuff. So Luke's got his stuff he needs to sort out in Harlem, and of course Jessica Jones needs to reopen the investigation bureau. So right now, of course, they're not together, but those who follow the comics again will know Luke Cage and Jessica Jones rekindle their friendship in many a way, to the point where they're married and they have a daughter. So we'll see when that happens. I can't imagine that happening in season 2, maybe season 3 they get together. Hopefully there's a season at some point where we have Heroes for Hire, but we'll wait and see, because none of that's kind of confirmed. So obviously, so what does that really mean for Jessica Jones season 2? Because she, at the very end, Malcolm's fixing all the holes in the investigation kind of office of hers, and she finally takes the wrapping off of the window, and Alias investigation is back open for business, because Punisher's the next on the Marvel TV series, and then obviously Jessica Jones comes along. But the good thing is, that nice little touch where she takes off the paper and she's open for business now. So she's back. She's doing PI work. But I do miss seeing someone being smashed through that window. So hopefully in season 2, that will happen, and happen soon enough. Next up, Danny Rand, man. What's Danny up to now? Well, Danny's arc is kind of pretty much finished by this movie. He was the damsel in distress, and he was the kind of privileged kid, and it's great because Luke put him in his place early on. Jessica Jones did. Everyone's kind of took pops at him, and he was kind of childish at first, so it was good to see his kind of character mature in this season as well. Short season, but to the point. At the very end, he sat on top of a building with his fist glowing. So what Matt Murdock said to him before he got in the elevator was, "Look after my city, protect my city," I think it was, something along those lines. And Iron Fist at the very end is kind of seen on top of a skyscraper, and he's vigilant, and he's looking out the city, and he's going to be the vigilante hero that the city deserves. And that is very nice, because Iron Fist to this point has just kind of been a whiny little kid. He was quite annoying in Iron Fist season 1. He's actually matured, and his character arc is coming together really nicely finally. So it'd be interesting to see how he kind of gets up, if at any point there is Danny Rand and a Luke Cage season coming soon. How cool would that be? We're down for some of that. And then the next two, Misty Knight, Colleen Wing. Of course, Misty and Colleen, long partners in comics, operating as Daughters of the Dragon. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens, because their career story didn't really go anywhere. So hopefully the Night Nurse is still around and she's doing her thing. And of course, Colleen and Misty, yeah, they're pretty much kicking it anyway. There's not much. She's got her bionic arm now, so it's designed by Tony Stark. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, because Rand Enterprise owns so much. Tony obviously owns so much, but somehow those worlds will collide. So when do I think Defenders Season 2 will be coming out? Now, looking at the slate and what's coming next, we've got Punisher, followed by Jessica Jones, followed by Luke Cage, Daredevil, and then Iron Fist. So where the earliest, I can't imagine it being till 2019, Defenders 2. At that point, who knows? You might have Frank Castle as a Defender, and that will be pretty amazing. Yeah, tell me what you guys thought. If there's anything I missed out, the mysteries of Maggie explained or anything, hit me up with your comments, your likes, and yeah, for all things, keep it locked down to MyGuy Reviews. Guys, welcome to MyGuy Reviews review. We're going to talk about the ending of Defenders. Kind of break it down for you guys and kind of give you some explanations of what's happening.